Hey, hi, how you doing? This is Ryan, and welcome back to the Gamertron Show. So, I know this topic has been discussed at length, discussed to death. I'm sure many of you are sick of it. But if you'll indulge me and help satisfy my curiosity, I want to see if we can all find some common ground in the debate of what is acceptable monetization within video games. For this video, I insist, please leave a comment. Even if you don't usually leave comments on YouTube videos, I want to hear your opinion. I want to know your perspective on this. With the caveat that you can't just say no additional monetization in video games whatsoever. Yes, that would be ideal, but we are well past that point. That is not reality now. Additional monetization within video games is here to stay. We got to accept it and move on. Now, let's begin. So to start off with, free-to-play games. What are acceptable forms of monetization in free-to-play games? Free-to-play video games need to have some sort of form of monetization to sustain themselves. That's the trade-off for the game being free-to-play after all. Sure, you can download it, install it, play it for free, but there's usually going to be some content that's locked off from you behind a paywall, or the progression system is tuned in such a way that it is exceptionally lengthy and slow to actually make progress in. Personally, I think that's a fair trade. You get a free game, but you have to give the devs either a lot of your time or some of your money. Now for you, when it comes to free-to-play games, when is the line crossed? When do the microtransactions go too far? Is it when some items are in the price range of $20, $30, $50? Oof, and we've all seen some free-to-play video games offering items or bundles or packages that are worth $100. Is that acceptable because it's free-to-play? How far do you believe the pricing of in-game items, in-game purchases in free-to-play games should be allowed to go? Should there be a limit? Personally, I find monetization models in free-to-play games fascinating because there is no one singular agreed-upon model. You look at all the different free-to-play video games out there and almost all of them are doing something different. Cosmetic-only purchases, XP boosters, battle passes, super special player memberships, outright exclusive gameplay content that you can't access unless you fork up some cash. Some games do some of these practices, some games do all of them. And to say the reception and success of all these practices is mixed would be an understatement. Now, for me, context is paramount. Pricing of all these items, bundles, and pieces of content need to be relatively matched with value and quantity. Because I'm sorry, it doesn't matter if your game is free to play, no one single weapon skin or character skin, like any sort of cosmetic, no singular cosmetic is worth $100 friggin' dollars. Anything in a free-to-play game that is worth $100 better be a bundle. It better be a shit ton of cosmetics, some in-game currency, some XP boosters. You gotta make it worth my money. $100? That's like one whole special edition of a brand new video game, or two whole AA or AAA video games, or perhaps a metric butt ton of different indie games. If I spend $100, I better get $100 worth of content and loot in your free-to-play game. Hell, the whole reason I utterly refuse to even try out Valorant, even though it's a free-to-play game, is because of its monetization model. It actually genuinely offends me that there are weapon skins in that game that cost over $100. And that's actually very unique for me. I'm surprisingly forgiving when it comes to monetization models in both free-to-play video games and fully priced video games. For me, Valorant and its weapon skins that cost over $100, like that crosses a line for me. Just hell no. I don't care that Valorant is free-to-play. Weapon skins should never cost over $100. To clarify though, I do believe that it is perfectly fine for video game publishers and developers to sell cosmetic items in their video games for both free-to-play games and fully priced games. Of course, this is very context sensitive to what the cosmetic items in question may be, but generally, for the most part, creating new art assets, new models, whether it be character or prop models, it's a craft that deserves to be compensated. I mean, we don't bat an eye or are outraged when people pay money for art commissions online, do we? No, because we realize that the artist should be compensated for their time and effort. So it's only fair that we apply the same mindset, the same rules on the implementation and selling of newly created cosmetic items in video games. I do believe, however, where several video games stumble and draw the ire of so many is in the pricing. Yeah, there's no way else to put it. The majority of video game cosmetics, with some exceptions of course, are just dreadfully overpriced. Weapon skins, character skins, armor sets, they just shouldn't be $10. Unless these are cosmetic bundles with maybe some gameplay bonuses, I personally believe that video game cosmetic items should never have prices that range into the double digits. They should never surpass $10. If it's a fully priced game, wholly unacceptable. At that point, you're saying that this cosmetic item is worth as much as 1/6 of your fully priced $60 game. Of course, with free-to-play games, it's more excusable. Free-to-play games get some more leeway, but paying $10+ for a single item in your game that's purely cosmetic? I don't know, man, that's a real big ask. In my opinion, weapon skins should never cost more than $1, character skins and armor sets shouldn't cost more than $5. Again, the creation of these cosmetic assets should be compensated. They do take talent and effort. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong in asking for money for them. I just think over the years, video game companies have horribly overpriced them. For example, Bungie. As much as I enjoy Destiny 2, if you think your armor sets are worth $15, well, you're out of your goddamn minds. Wait, as a matter of fact, how does that make any sense? You sell your battle passes for $10. Your battle passes are worth $10, and you get a ton of cosmetic content and gameplay content in those battle passes. So Bungie believes that one full cosmetic armor set is worth more money than all the content in a battle pass. Keeping in mind those battle passes contain an entire cosmetic armor set in themselves. So yeah, Bungie has no idea how value works. Up next, I want to talk about specific types of monetization. I'd like to think that most people will agree that loot boxes are garbage. Whether it's in free-to-play games or fully priced games, I will argue to hell and back again that loot boxes are a terrible form of monetization. As far as I'm concerned, RNG, random chance, should never be a factor when you're spending money. I want to know exactly what I'm purchasing, and I want to purchase exactly what I want. Which is why I'm totally alright with, and I actually like, battle passes. I know exactly what I'm getting, how much I'm getting, and I get a nice little incentive and extra rewards for playing a video game that I already enjoy. I give the developers some of my money, and some of my time, and I get exactly what I want. I'd say that's a fair trade. And cheap, direct purchases and item bundles, I'm also totally fine with, and that's what I prefer in terms of monetization implementation. One game that I will always sing the praises of and handled this beautifully was Respawn Entertainment's Titanfall 2. All of the additional in-game purchases were fairly priced, they weren't egregious or invasive, very consumer friendly, and I wish all fully priced games shared the same business model as Titanfall 2. So, to summarize my personal feelings on monetization in video games, whether it's free to play or a fully priced game, I am alright with additional monetization in video games, as long as the items available for purchase are fairly priced, straightforward, no RNG involved, essentially no gambling. And of course, this should go without saying, but I'll say it anyways, no pay-to-win microtransactions. Now for all of you, what is your criteria? Where is your line drawn? I know there are some folks out there who are wholly against additional monetization in video games. Wholly against any and all forms of microtransaction, whereas I am more lenient and forgiving and care about the context of the monetization and how it's implemented. I've come to accept that microtransactions and additional purchases in video games are here to stay. They're not going anywhere. The classic business model of the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s isn't going to make a return. And for me, I'm not going to give up on playing awesome, fun video games just because they have any form of microtransactions in them. But again, that's me. What is your stance? What are your preferences? And why do you take that stance? Why do you have those preferences? I genuinely really want to know. Because monetization in video games has evolved so drastically just this past decade alone. And despite the mass protests and mass online outrage for monetization in video games, the games containing these supposedly egregious monetization systems are still immensely popular and profitable, which is why I want to pick all of your brains with this video. video. Is there a common consensus on this topic? If not, will there ever be? Have we reached the limit of how far in-game monetization will go? Are there still more variations and evolutions we have yet to see? While this isn't my preferred topic to discuss about when it comes to video games, I can't deny it's still fascinating nonetheless. So, leave your thoughts, feelings, and opinions in the comment section down below. I'd love to read them, and in the future, I may make a sequel to this video reading and responding to your comments. Anyways, that's the end of this video. I hope you liked it in any way, shape, or form. If you did indeed, please hit the like button. Please share the video on social media, Twitter, Reddit, and Facebook. And if you want to help out and support me directly, there's always links to my Ko-fi and my Patreon in the description down below. Thank you again for watching. This has been a video, and I'll see you all later.